Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name's Courtney. Usually I post about my own art. I'm an illustrator, but today I wanted to post about other people's art. I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing my own art today. So I get asked a lot like what stuff inspires me, and so part of what inspires me are comics and stuff that other artists make. So I'm basically just gonna go through my bookshelf and show you all of the stuff that I have physically bought and own or acquired somehow if I didn't buy it myself, and just talk about like what I like about it, I guess. These are in no particular order. It's literally just how I've been storing them in my bookshelf, and my bookshelf is not organized. It's vaguely by size, but not really. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of go through it. I'll leave links, not affiliated links, but just like links if you can buy these things still. I know for a fact some of them, unfortunately, like you won't be able to buy, but I'll try to put like their social media or anything like that so you can like find the people who are making them. But yeah, we're just talking about comics and art books today, so let's get into it. Interrupting my video with another video to say that my own book, my own comic, Signals, is available to pre-order physical copies of right now. That's right, you heard me, right now. When this video was posted, between August 4th and the 23rd, you can pre-order a copy. I might sell extras, but this is like the guaranteed way to get it. I'm very excited about it. You should get it. All the info's in the description. Anyway, back to talking about other people's art. So the first kind of chunk I have are generally like smaller zine type ones, but there's some bigger ones too. Again, really not in a particular order. I guess some of these are also kind of newer, but also not really. But yeah, first one, starting off strong. We got Bowser and Luigi are in love, so just try and stop me, Nintendo. This is by Ariel. Ries? I don't know how to say their last name. I've never said it out loud, but yeah, this is just like a fun, silly one. I got this because they hadn't been making like the physical copy for a while, but then with the Mario movie, they made another run of the physical copy, so I was like, fuck it, let me get it. But you can get it digitally still. It's on itch.io. I'll leave that link. But yeah, it's just a shippy zine of Luigi and Bowser. I don't really know what you want from me. It's cute, it's fun. Next up, I have something that I know for a fact you can't buy anymore, so sorry about that. But this is Odd Noises in Empty Rooms by Trevor Henderson, who is a great horror artist. He did like Siren Head and like, you know, he's that guy. And but yeah, this is just like a fun risograph zine that he made. And when I bought it, I remember he was posting like the last copies of it, and he was like, I'm probably not gonna make it anymore. But I know for a fact he is coming out with a middle grade like novel through Scholastic, like a horror novel. I think it's called Scare Waves, something like that. I'll post the like cover here, but yeah, that looks like it's gonna be awesome. I'm definitely gonna pick that up. But yeah, very cool book. I love his artwork, and we are somehow mutuals, which makes no sense to me. Next up, I have a double hitter actually. These are by the same person, so that's kind of why I'm talking about them both. But I have I Dream of Tom from Succession and Primavera, or How I Broke Up with My Mother by Ezra David Matz. He is an amazing autobio trans artist. Like, just I'm obsessed with him and what he's doing with autobio comics and memoir comics. His current project, which I pre-ordered a physical copy of, but I don't have it here, is called A Terrified Child, played by Jeremy Strong. That is gonna be crazy, like the full thing. I'm so ready for it. But yeah, Ezra's great, just like really interesting ways of like talking about your life through the lens of like television. I'm obsessed particularly with Primavera because of this format, like, oh, and also it's signed, but the verticality of it, I can't even get it all in frame, but it's just so interesting. And I want more people to make like web comics and print them out like this, because it's just so cool. Like, you can just do things that you can't do with like the traditionally formatted publishing. So yeah, I love Ezra, really respect his work, and if you aren't following him or reading his work, you need to. He posts his stuff for free also, so you don't even need to have the physical copy. You can read it and then, you know, choose to throw some money his way to continue, you know, support people making cool stuff, you know? So I have this one, and I'm also seeing just the most recent one on my desk. But these are both from the Wigglebird Mailing Club. This is something through Patreon. I found it on Twitter randomly, but basically when you join, you get like a random zine in the mail by different artists, and they're all really like experimental, and like they're all basically like queer artists, I believe, which, you know me, you know, I support that. So yeah, this is just like a cool way to like support indie comics without even having to really like try. Like, the curation and stuff is done by the person or people who run it, so you can just like join and get interesting stuff in the mail each month. Yeah, I love them. I just had to like cancel my subscription for a little bit to save money, but like I will be joining back again. Like, I really respect what they do. Next, this is my newest edition. Actually, that's not true. I have a newer edition, but in this category, this is the newest edition. This is Haunts by Kaylee, Rowena, who is a great artist. This is not really a comic, it's more so just like an art book, a collection of different haunted house drawings. I won't show them all here, obviously, but yeah, Kaylee's great. And there's also like a little, there's like a little epilogue in the back here. But yeah, I love haunted houses just like Kaylee does, and so I had to pick this up. Kaylee did like a Kickstarter for this book, but I like missed the boat on that, so I was very happy to see that they're selling these again. So yes, very excited to have this. And also there's a little bit of shiny, like, I don't know, oh yeah, there you go, a little UV, like spot UV on the cover, which is also fun. Hopefully you can see all of this. I think it might be a little bit cropped, but this is a book called I'm Searching for a Place by an artist whose username is soupandcats. It's just like a experimental like collage book, basically. There's no real plot or anything. It's basically just like another art book, but I love what they do with cut paper. Like, I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And so yeah, I knew I had to pick up a copy when I found out they were making physical books. Yeah, I think like it's not constant, but they are periodically like selling more copies of this. So if any of that interests you and you want something that you can like flip through and get inspiration from, definitely recommend. Also, they're just like a great artist, so you should follow them even if you don't get the book. Last up in this little stack is a book called The Sucker by Elle Shivers. This is one of several silver sprocket joints that I have that you'll be seeing throughout here. But yeah, this book, I also kind of got it because I saw that they were coming with prints and I was kind of obsessed with them, so I wanted to make sure I like got the prints with it. But yeah, this is a book about, it's interpersonal drama, but it's also about like marine biologists and like their sort of expeditions. The book is printed in like on cream paper with green ink, and so like that's beautiful. And yeah, you know, sometimes like I kind of like going into comics blind, and even when I don't like love the story or isn't like my favorite story ever, I'm still happy to just like have a copy of it, because like I guess I hope that other people would do that for me. Like, you know, I like to just pay it forward. This next deck that I have is a lot bigger, and the books are also bigger. Again, they're not sorted, they're just kind of like taller for the most part. There's some short ones, but like I have like 2 tall shelves and a short shelf, so this is the first tall shelf basically. So the first one in this section is Gleem by Freddy Carrasco. This was a very important book for me, like discovering both this artist and this book and just flipping through it, like very foundational, and like blew my mind and like changed how I like view comics and line work and like all that sort of thing. It's also signed, not to brag, just because I pre-ordered it. But yeah, this is it's kind of like an anthology. It's 3 separate sort of stories. Yeah, I don't really even know like how to like, you should just read it. I don't want to give you a lot of description about it. I kind of just want you to like look at it. I don't know. Yeah, just like very experimental ways of like telling story. Generally I guess like they're pretty like sci-fi-y. You don't have to be this huge like sci-fi head to be like into them, but I would say that's kind of generally the vibe. Hold on, trying to find my favorite page. This one. This drawing blew my mind, changed my world. But yeah, it's mainly black and white, and then this last one, there's like get some screen tone, and then also we get a little bit of color, which is also fun. But yeah, this book, amazing. If you can get it, either like buying it or get it from a library, very much recommend. I genuinely don't know if you can buy this book anymore. You might be able to, but this is the art book for Jon Bellion's album, The Human Condition. I was very into him, like late high school, early middle college. And so this book really sort of like inspired me and like made me want to like start pursuing like album covers and doing that sort of thing. There's nothing super revolutionary in here. It kind of just has the artwork for all the singles and then fun facts about the song and then the visual symbolism in the artwork. But yeah, it's just a cool little book, especially if you're a fan of him. I think if you aren't a fan of him, you'd still enjoy the artwork. David Arnaiz Loyola, I don't think I said his name right, but the artist, yeah, he's really incredible. Just like really great stuff in here. I have 2 kind of technical books in here. The first is The Golden Secrets of Lettering. I got this book through a class I took at Mecca. The professors got us this book. But yeah, this is just like a very useful book if you want to get into hand lettering and like that sort of thing. Like, this is a really great resource. I don't do a lot of hand lettering anymore, just because I think doing it for that class really kind of burnt me out. But if that's an area that you're at all interested in, definitely recommend picking it up, getting it from the library, any of those sorts of things. And then while we're talking about comics, I'd be remiss not to talk about Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. I apologize that these books are going to get cut off a little bit. The rig that I have isn't very big. But yeah, this is essential if you want to do comics or any sort of visual storytelling at all. Like, I think even like if you're interested in like film adapting, like any of those sorts of things, like this is an invaluable resource. I think Internet Archive might have a scan of this on there, so you could even read it like for free, but this is definitely a book that like your library probably has. He also has another book called Making Comics, which is also very useful. That one goes into like the actual manufacturing aspect of comics. This is more about like understanding comics like as from a reader point of view and like how they functionally work. So it talks about like time and space and style and like all those sorts of things. And yeah, this, if you like reading comics, if you like making comics, if you want to get into either of those things, this is such a great book. I got mine secondhand. I got it from a like used bookstore. And yeah, love this thing. Of course, as someone who loves horror and loves comics, I'd be remiss not to talk about Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I've also read the Tomie sort of like bundle, and I also recommend that one. My favorite Junji Ito story is actually the Enigma of Amigara Fault. Like that's my favorite one. But yeah, Uzumaki is a great intro. Like, it's kind of like the one that he's known for. And yeah, it's just, I gotta be careful about what pages I show actually, but it's just a great book, and it's a great collection of the story. it's really great, okay? It's about a town that gets like obsessed with spirals. I don't really think you need to know much more than that. But yeah, the way that the story develops is really crazy. And obviously, Junji Ito's like craftsmanship off the charts. No one doing it like him. Just like really, really remarkable stuff. Trying to find like a suitable page I can show. Here we go. Here's some fun stuff. Just don't want to like show anything too crazy for YouTube's sake. But yeah, love Junji Ito. Definitely recommend reading his stuff. I would recommend reading it physically if you can. I read Uzumaki digitally first, but I'm glad I have like a physical copy of it. This is a random little one, but I'd be remiss, you know, not to show it. So when I was like 13, I was really into Assassin's Creed. And so I got like the special pre-order edition of Black Flag, which came with the art book. And it's just, I think any sort of like art book for like games or movies or that sort of thing are really interesting. It's interesting looking at it now versus like when I got it then. Because like when I got it when I was 13, I was like, wow, how did they make all this stuff? And now I can see like it's probably a lot of like photo bashing and that sort of thing, which I don't mean that as a dig, obviously. Many talented artists worked on this, but like it's cool to see the actual like art that went behind it. Yeah, I doubt that you can you probably could get this like secondhand. There might be people selling the art book by itself. And I'm sure probably some of the artists who worked on it have posted like their work on their portfolios and stuff. But yeah, it's nice to have this little book. Then very exciting, Vermis by Plastiboo. These you can still get, but the publisher Hollow Press does kind of rounds. I think they're on like the 5th round of printing these, which is like awesome. But yeah, this is such an amazing project. It's like fake guidebook for, well, it's a real guidebook for a game that doesn't exist. So it's like a Dark Souls, like dark fantasy sort of thing. And so it's just like an art book, but through that sort of lens. And yeah, just like really awesome stuff in here. I still haven't even like fully read this book. I gotta explore it a bit more, but I'm obsessed with it basically. I would highly recommend, if not getting this book, at the very least following Plastiboo, because they are an incredible artist, like off the charts, just doing so much fun stuff. All right, and so this is another kind of fandom-y one, but two of my longtime mutuals make this MCR comic called Death Wish, and yeah, I just wanted to shout them out because they're both very talented artists and they do great things. And so if you like My Chemical Romance like at all, you should probably read it. Like it's just a really cool like little series they have going on. There's 4 out right now and they're working on 5 at the moment. But yeah, I picked this one just because it's my favorite cover, I think, out of the 4 they've done so far. But yeah, just like really good stuff. Again, you know, gotta support your friends, you know? If you want them to support you, you gotta support them. This is Crossing the Threshold. This is a fun one because I was actually part of this. It's basically like a comic anthology with like different queer comics. If they're still selling copies, I'll put the link in the description. I'm honestly not sure if they are. But yeah, I love the cover. Like all of the other artists who are involved in this are amazing. I'll flip to the one that I did. Here it is. Yeah, so I did this illustration, and I'll flip through it a little bit. But yeah, another example of like trans people making cool art, basically. So like, what more do you need? You know, that's kind of all you need. And also, I love the cover. The cover just looks amazing. This one, I forget their name. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's a credit page in the back. So Jaden Christofferson did the cover, which is amazing. But yeah, Kyle Lysander, Jackie Reynolds, all these people are great, myself included, you know, a little self-love. So I love the next book so much, I actually have 2 copies of it. It's Prokaryote Season by Leo Fox. I'll show this one because A, this is the one that you can actually get right now, and B, it'll actually fit in frame. This is like the first edition printing, which I love very dearly, but yeah, I'll show you the one you can actually buy. So Prokaryote Seasons by Leo Fox, who is, again, an amazing illustrator. If you're not following him, you should be. He just does so much, like his art's just like great. The actual art and then also the writing is also phenomenal. This book is like a weird fairy tale almost about like a character who makes a wish and then kind of has to deal with the consequences basically. It's about like living and also like relationships and like that sort of interpersonal thing, but it's also just like weird and fun, and it's about like microorganisms as well. You learn why it's called Prokaryote Season, but as you can probably see from me just flipping through it, the artwork is incredible. Just like so inspirational to me. This and Gleem are probably like the biggest inspirations out of this whole video. Yeah, like reading this changed my life. I've reread it like multiple times. Just like such innovative stuff. They're selling copies again through Silver Sprocket. They published it, which is amazing. Again, love Silver Sprocket and what they do. That's a great indie publisher. But yeah, just like amazing stuff. Really, really spectacular, amazing stuff. Very highly recommend. Cannot stress it enough. Love this book. This book definitely won't fit into frame, but it's Lost and Found by Sean Tan, who is a great children's illustrator. I mean, generally a children's illustrator, but anybody can enjoy them. But yeah, my professor in college got me this, like she got books for everybody, but this is like the graduation present I got from her basically. Like she got books for everybody. And yeah, just such cool stuff. I love Sean Tan's work. I found it through a friend, and just like really innovative, interesting ways to make images, just like cool mixed media sort of stuff. Yeah, I would definitely recommend, if your local library has any Sean Tan, definitely recommend flipping through and just like looking at the art because it's gorgeous. Lastly, in this little chunk, I got Third Grade by Flesh.png, aka Chan. Chan is an amazing artist. Might know them, you know, they're pretty popular. They don't have physical copies of like this one anymore, at least. I think they might still be selling like the PDFs. I know they were for a minute selling the PDFs of the previous ones, but yeah, this is like the compilation book that they've done in the past for their art. They kind of do them yearly. I don't know if they're gonna make like a 4th grade one, but yeah, I love this book. I want to make something like it, but the actual like, it's kind of daunting thinking about like there's so much effort put into all these spreads and like making them look interesting and cool. Like obviously it's just like plugins and stuff, but yeah, I love Chan's artwork. For not following them, you should be. You know, the Orville pack, beautiful. Yeah, it's just like their artwork and just like little drabbles and writing around it. It's just like a cool scrapbook of their art, and it makes it just like this cool. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm still mad I didn't get the shirt that has this on it. I missed out on that. But yeah, love Chan, love this book. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So my middle shelf, my short shelf, it doesn't have a lot of comics. It kind of just has a lot of like books, but there are still a couple comics on there that I can show you. First up, we have X-Mag. This was like a series of anthologies that Piao Studios made. They don't exist anymore, unfortunately. They just closed down in like January, which kind of sucks. But yeah, this one is yeah, it's a genre-based comics anthology. This volume is cyberpunk, and so it just has like a bunch of different artists together like telling stories. I remember getting this one because Freddy Carrasco did the cover and has a story in here, and I just like love his work. I know he sold NFTs at one point, so I unfollowed him. I don't know if he's still doing that. If he's still doing that, definitely, you know, get a copy of Gleem secondhand or get it from a library or something. But yeah, just a cool little book. Mine's waterlogged. I think this was a casualty in an incident where I spilled water in my dorm room, but it, you know, she's still kicking, she's still fine. And then I don't own a lot of manga anymore. The manga that I bought when I was in like 6th grade was questionable, so this is kind of the only remnant from that era. As you can see, the edges are so like gray. They should be like black. But yeah, Death Note, I do have it, and it is, I would consider it an inspiration. I do love the artist's work, you know, just the line work. Obviously, I feel like kind of silly even recommending Death Note, because it's like, that's like the one that like beyond like Naruto and One Piece, like this is like the one that people get into. So I don't think I need to tell you about Death Note, but in case you do, like, if you've only watched the anime, maybe check out the manga. I think that like it's cool seeing the illustrations. Now this is one of 2 that technically aren't comics or art books or anything, but I still think they're visually interesting, and so I want to show them. This is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. If you don't know anything about this book, basically the thing is that the story is formatted in a little bit of a silly way. I'll show you like a really silly spread. Yeah, so it starts doing stuff like this, and this is mainly why I wanted to show it in here. I just think the formatting is super interesting, and I would love to make a comic that feels like how reading House of Leaves feels. I started annotating it, as you can see. I was doing like a reread, but I have not continued just because it is a very daunting book to read. It's freaking huge and dense, and it is mainly reading, like it reads like a academic paper for half of it, and then the other half is like just some insane drabbles. But basically it's about this guy finding a paper that his neighbor wrote about this documentary called The Davidson Record, which is about a house that it starts out that the house is a little bit bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, and it goes from there. I don't want to tell you too much. Definitely look up like content warnings if you want to read House of Leaves. There's some like, there's a chapter that has some like animal death stuff that isn't great. Generally isn't respectful to women, but it is very great, and like I love the Davidson Record story. I don't really care about the guy who found it, to be honest. I don't know, that's kind of maybe a controversial opinion, but yeah, I do think it's worth trying at least once just to kind of like see the story evolve. And then lastly, for this little section, I have Mob Psycho. I own 3 of the volumes physically. I picked this one just because it's out of the ones I have, it's my favorite cover. But yeah, Mob Psycho is my favorite anime of all time, and I do also really like the manga. Like, the drawings are a little silly, but like they're fun. Yeah, if you've never read or watched it, I would say maybe watch it first and then read it. But yeah, the story is incredible. I love One and his storytelling, and yeah, just like I love Mob. Had to include him in here. I'm obviously very good at looking through my bookshelf because I forgot one. This is in like the middle shelf. But this is another Silver Sprocket book. It's Be Kind, My Neighbor by Yugo Limbo. This book is massive. Like, it's a chunky graphic novel. I don't want to flip through it too much because it is like 18 plus, so there's some NSFW content in there. But yeah, this book is really cool. If you like the style and also you're an adult, I would recommend like looking at it and seeing if you want to check it out. It's really, really cool. And I love the fact that it's printed on like craft paper. Like, I love the look of it. But yeah, this book's really cool too. I just forgot to mention it before. Alrighty, we are on the last like home stretch here. This is our final shelf. Got some really chunky boys here. First up, I have S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. If you've never heard of this book, basically the gimmick is that it's this like library book that these people keep checking out, and also like the believability of it is mainly why I'm including it. But yeah, it's a library book that these people were checking out, and like it's these people talking to each other in the margins of this book that exists, and then they're kind of like talking about the author and trying to figure out like what's going on, and then there's also these little tapped in things like in it. Yeah, unfortunately, like I can't get into this book just because like I don't like J.J. Abrams' way of writing. Like I can just like, you can feel it, you know, you can feel the fact that it's written by him, or like partially written by him in the dialogue. And so like it's similar to House of Leaves in the sort of way that like the margins are distracting from the actual story. But I love this concept and I would love to do something like it, so I wanted to, you know, show it off a little bit. Yeah, it just has like all of these like put in things because it's like they're basically like checking out the book back and forth, and they're like talking through the margins. And yeah, there's like a mystery aspect. I couldn't tell you like what it is because again, I couldn't really get into it. But yeah, I do think it's cool. I think if you're less of a hater than me, you should probably check it out. Yeah, the dialogue on the edges is kind of what stopped me, but like I love the concept, and like they did such a great job in the manufacturing of this book to make it feel like an actual like library book. I got another art book. This one is for Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you work at Maine College of Art and Design, stop listening for the next 5 seconds. I stole this from the illustration department. This was the graduation gift to me. Yeah, sorry, but all those books were ones that were kind of like left behind, so I kind of just nabbed it. But yeah, it's a cool book. If you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's a cool book to check out. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it, but it is just cool seeing like the sketches and that sort of thing. I think if you're getting into art, it's very useful seeing any sort of art book that talks about process, just because like I think it can feel so like out of reach for a lot of people when they get into it, but like seeing this, like you kind of start to understand like how something like Avatar gets made, even though obviously like beyond these sketches, like there were a team of animators and other creative people behind it making it happen. Next up I have this book. This is Selling the Movie, The Art of the Film poster. I got this for my thesis, which if you missed it, my last video was talking about my thesis, because I thought I was doing movie posters. But yeah, this is just like a cool book that talks about like the history. It talks about both the history of film, but also the history of film posters. And so like it kind of talks about film history through that sort of lens. And yeah, it's just like a really great collection of movie posters and like other sorts of like ephemera around movies, and you can like really sort of track the way that both movies and movie posters like changed and adapted over time. And so it kind of talks about like the decade generally and like different little like film moments, and then it talks about like specific artists and like their poster work, so you can kind of see them all together. And yeah, it's just a cool book. If you're interested at all in like making film posters or just like kind of film generally, I'd recommend it. It's cool. All right, and so these next 3 are all books I got for free from my school's library. They had a free shelf where they would kind of just be like cycling through books, and so I picked up a good couple. You know, love a free book. And so yeah, this one is an Edward Hopper book. Kind of shows some of his like pencil studies and other sorts of studies. I haven't really read this one per se. I've kind of just looked at the pictures. But yeah, I do love Edward Hopper's work. I think he's a very interesting artist, and I think like the way that he painted was very interesting. So yeah. inspiring. And then I also have this Vincent van Gogh book that has the drawings. So I was really interested in this just because, like, you know, you see a lot of his paintings, right? But you can like really see the way that the like line work sort of comes through even in like, or the brush marks and like the mark making comes through in the drawings. So yeah, I saw this on the free shelf and I was like, okay, well, gotta have that one. Just fun. And then, you know, the classic Maine artist, Winslow Homer. I do really enjoy his artwork. I was like, I don't know, it's tough being an artist in Maine because you see so much of his work like locally that you're like, okay, whatever. But like, he is like a really genuinely talented artist. Yeah, just wanted, like, again, saw it on the free shelf, thought it was cool. Ooh, I think I saw that one in person recently, actually, because they have it at the PMA. Yeah, just cool stuff, cool artwork, you know? Can't complain. All right, we're on our last 3 books. Are we ready? So, number 1 of 3, I have True Lies of the Fabulous Killjoys, written by Gerard Way and Sean Simon, drawn by Becky Cloonan. This comic is awesome, both if you like MCR and also if you don't. It's really not connected to the album very much. Like, there are some things that are connected, like it's in the same universe, but you can enjoy it without having like a real knowledge of like MCR or like a real appreciation for the album. It's just really cool. It's a cool world. Becky Cloonan is a great illustrator. I would recommend like reading anything that she has drawn for. Like, I just love her style. But yeah, just like cool stuff. It's a dystopian sort of apocalyptic world. Think like Mad Max or that sort of thing. I don't know, I don't like telling too much about like what they're about just because I like to go into comics blind, but yeah, this is a great like library binding, like omnibus of it. It's also like really big. I don't know if this is like communicating how big it is, but it's just like a really big copy, which is cool. Now this is the most recent book in my collection. I literally just got it in the mail yesterday, but this is the art book for Across the Spider-Verse. I don't own the one for Into the Spider-Verse, which is funny, but I know for a fact my library has it, so that's kind of why I haven't picked up that one. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to tell you that Across the Spider-Verse is a beautiful film, and so I wanted to pick up the art book for it. Yeah, just like, I mean, of course, you know, web slinger, love him. But yeah, if you like are interested in getting into like the sort of like production development side of animation after seeing Spider-Verse, I would definitely recommend picking it up. It's just cool to see all of the artwork sort of together printed out. And I say all the artwork, but I just know for a fact there's like so much more artwork that they're not showing in here. But yeah, it's also just great if you like the movie. Like, it's just a beautiful little book. And also like there's some interesting design elements where like this talks about like the texture that they use for Puppeteer and like the way that they would layer him. Yeah, just very cool stuff. And our last book for today is this book. So obviously Parasite is a really phenomenal movie and I was really entranced by it when I first saw it, and when I found out that they had like all the storyboards sort of together, I knew I had to have it. Yeah, this book is really cool if you're interested in like film, both understanding film or like making film, because it has all of the storyboards right next to the scripts for Parasite. And obviously, you know, there are some things that differ, but it's so interesting being able to see like the visual thinking next to the scripts before, and then like kind of seeing how that translates into the movie. Like this, I don't know why, but it was just like revolutionary for me. I was like, wow, yeah, I guess like directors do probably like draw out some scenes before doing them. Like obviously not all of them do it to this extent, but yeah, this was a very like, this is a great book if you're like interested in film at all and like understanding or making it. And yeah, that's it for me. Check out any of the books I mentioned. I always think it's cool, especially to support, you know, indie creators and publishers and that sort of thing. Especially with like, you know, all the strikes and like AI art, like all of the things that artists are going through right now. It does genuinely mean a lot when you go out of your way to support people. So I'm not even saying that like just for my sake. I would appreciate if you support me, but just like generally, I think it's good to support people when you can. Even if it's just like recommending a book to somebody, like it doesn't even have to be the monetary aspect. You can check a book out of a library and recommend it to somebody else. And like that, you know, that word of mouth does spread. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Check out my other videos and future videos. They'll be about my art, I promise. If you want to see a part 2, I could do all the digital stuff I own because that's a whole other bag of worms. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.